This week we learning Parsha Mishpatim. Well, now that the Jews have received the 10 Commandments at Mount Sinai, which we learned about that last week in Parsha Yitro, and accepted the Torah, in this Parsha, God provides us with a whole list of laws covering bewildering variety of topics, from responsibility for damages for protection of property, to laws of justice, to Shabbat and the festivals. In this Parsha we learn all about 53 mitzvot out of the total 613, of course, that God commands all the Jews. So the Parsha is basically a list of things you must do or must not do as far as the Torah's commandments are concerned. It covers the family laws, financial regulations, interaction between people, and numerous situations, including even physical fights, and much, much more. Here is a small list, bullet points I made up, just what it approximately covers. First, exact instructions about how one should treat his servant. 2, the punishment for murder, kidnapping, and hitting or cursing one's parents, as well as other people. Misbehaving animals situations. What happens if somebody's ox goes wild and kills somebody, or if someone steals someone else's animal and kills the animal or sells it. Then taking care of someone else's stuff, guardianship. Then different ways we must be nice to each other, and the Torah demands that we be extra nice to strangers, widows, and orphans. And it says that these defenseless people especially deserve our kindness. Laws of courts and judging, the judicial system. Never testify falsely against somebody, Torah says, and don't accept a false testimony from somebody else. And definitely don't accept bribery. Every 7 years, which we call Shemitah, we must give the land a break and not to do any work on it. And the last mitzvah listed in this parsha given is that we keep meat and milk products separate. Yeah, this is where the kashrut laws are basically stated, that in every kosher kitchen there must be 2 sets of everything. Dishes, sinks, counters, everything. One set for meat and the other set for milk. And Parsha promises that God will give the land of Israel to the Jewish people, and Moses goes up the mountain to get the tablets from God. He remains there for 40 days and 40 nights. And that's the content of the whole Parsha. So why here? Why not continue this story leading up to the next great drama, the sin of the golden calf? And the answer is this: God is everywhere and is in every detail of our life. First, Torah gave us the story, the overall concepts, visions. Now, in this parsha, it goes into details. Without the vision, the details are merely tiresome, boring. So we need to have the big picture. And great leaders communicate vision first, but they are also painstaking and even perfectionist when it comes to the details. And Hashem, as we know, is the greatest of all leaders we know. So he's doing exactly that. Hence, the remarkable project, the Torah of the Torah in this parsha, because what it does, it translates historical experience into detailed legislation so that the Israelites would live what they learned on daily basis, weaving it into the very texture of their social life. In the Parshat Mishpatim, vision becomes details and the narrative becomes law. Torah means law, but it also means teaching, instruction, guidance, or more generally, direction. Direction to what, you will say? Direction to the correction of our human attitude towards each other. And first of all, changes from antagonistic, competitive, egoistic relationships we normally have in our society to an altruistic behavior towards each other. In other words, from I to we to one. One, that is the goal, to achieve complete dvekut with Hashem, to become 100% partners with Him. There is no denying it. We, the pre-Messianic generation, live in a very new age, challenging age, changing rapidly. Today, science fiction has become scientific facts, and the question is asked if this new world order, with science and technology changing the way we live, is religion still relevant to us? Do we still need to subscribe to an ancient or seemingly long obsolete code of laws when we are so much more advanced technologically than our ancestors more than 3,000 years ago? So let me ask you, have the 10 Commandments passed their use-by date? Are faith and doubt, murder and adultery, thievery and jealousy out of fashion? No longer taking place? Notwithstanding all our marvelous medical and scientific developments, has human nature itself really changed? Are not the very same moral issues that faced our ancestors still challenging our own generation? Whether it's an ox cart or Mercedes-Benz, the road rage or courteous coexistence on the road is still a choice we must make. Or the question of looking after aged parents, it's not a new problem, but it's a very common problem in our age. The very same issue is dealt with within the Bible, like, for instance, siblings rivalry, jealous spouses, incest in the families. Only yesterday in France, they raised a huge issue with a huge problem regarding incest in the families. The question of wars and warring nations. They are still the stuff of newspaper headlines today. We still struggle with knowing the difference between right and wrong, moral or immoral, ethical or sneaky. And not even the most advanced computer on this earth is able to answer those questions for us. Science and technology address the how and what of life, but they do not answer the question why. Why are we here in the first place? Why should I be nice to my neighbor? Why should my life be more noble than my pet dogs, for instance? Science and technology have unraveled many mysteries and that puzzled us for centuries, but they have not answered a single moral question. Only Torah addresses the moral minefield in depth. And those issues are perhaps more pressing today than ever before in history. But what is amazing, actually, as per explanations from the Chabad Rabbi Manis Friedman, I learned an interesting thing. That right now we Jews and the rest of the world finally started to move in the right directions thanks to COVID-19. If you want to describe the current world progress towards goal set by the Torah, you will have to look at the different fields of human endeavors. If you look at the political progress, for instance, around the world, it's not so good. But we are not politicians, and it's not our business right now to discuss it. If we look at the health area, we are not doing very well either, due to many reasons, and COVID-19 has demonstrated to us how unprepared the humanity is for major medical calamity. But how we can look at the humanity from Torah perspective? Well, there is this one only field where we actually do have the freedom of will, and that is the moral improvement, the field of morality. And this is the field where we are improving, actually, at an incredible pace. Rabbi Friedman is saying the following, and he quotes actually the Times of Israel newspaper. The number of Jewish Israelis who divorced in 2020 declined by 3% compared to the year before, and that there was a drop in number of divorce cases filed that year, according to an annual report from the Rabbinical Courts Administration, published on the 11th of January 2021. The report said that there was an anticipation that there would be a rise by 60% of divorces in Israel due to the pressure of coronavirus crisis that saw Israelis endure 3 lockdowns and left millions unemployed. So what's happened? Didn't take place. Well, the statisticians are good with numbers, but they don't understand the underlying goodness of human beings. That's why there is an actual improvement of 63% comparing to the forecasts due to COVID-19. When there is a stress, destruction, or confusion, we humans can be bad and even cruel. But when the spiritual world is forcing humanity to be good, we are capable to follow the guidance from above. If you look at the world today, comparing to a year ago, people are better from morality point of view. The level of decency of people in general has improved. More than that, their attitude to spirituality has improved quite dramatically too. It's getting much easier to talk to people about God and spirituality today, or even on Bondi Beach when I'm going there. It looks like the world is changing towards a better, more peaceful version of it. I will give you a few examples. Due to lockdowns, families are forced to interact with each other and maybe to rebuild relationships. We all have been so busy living our lives, many of us have lost their real, genuine moments when we could spend time with our loved ones. It could have been busy schedules, running around to the jobs, the businesses, to trying to get the ends meet, or rushing to urgent meetings, etc. You know what I'm talking about. Well, COVID-19 forced us to change that. As life slowed down due to COVID-19, we have found ways to stay connected with people, even if it is sometimes only virtually. Entire lifestyle changes to practice better hygiene took place. Being hygienic is no longer just a good habit, but the very skill required for survival. Closer relationships within the neighborhoods have developed, with people helping the elderly and frail during the lockdowns. They even sing together and in the windows and balconies of their flats and houses, whatever. Organizations now cannot just stop functioning altogether, so each is coming up with the ultimate ideas to attract and even sustain both of their customers and their employees. Many companies now work remotely with 100% of the workforce functioning virtually, with little to zero physical offices at all required. This may actually resolve some housing problems around the world as well. Who knows? Another example, educational institutions have found a way to overcome the limitations of lockdowns, thanks to the technology. Yes, I agree, you cannot 100% replace the physical interaction of students in school, but online classes have become an alternative new norm for educational institutions. And it has come with few benefits as well. Institutions now can save some money on the infrastructural costs, on the building costs, and as a result, the students needn't to pay such a high educational fees as well. And maybe education will become more affordable. Moreover, parents have an opportunity now to get first-hand knowledge about how their child is learning, because they can see what they're learning at home, while sitting in front of the computer. And they can hear and see what actually the teachers teaching their children. And they can perceive how the child understands the concepts, the perceived concepts as well. Funny enough, even the air got cleaner around the world as well. And last but not least, we started to applaud the frontline workers, like doctors, nurses, hairdressers, shopping shelves fillers, couriers, and much more, instead of stupid reality show stars, for instance. Torah is the truth, and truth is eternal. COVID-19 has forced the whole world into serious lifestyle changes. We as a civilization are forced to rethink and change our moral and ethical standards right now. If we ever need a Torah, we need it right now, more than ever. May we continue to find moral guidance and clarity in the eternal truths of our holy and eternal Torah. Shabbat Shalom.
למען החי ורעי, למען החי ורעי, אתה בנה, שלום לך, למען החי ורעי, למען החי ורעי, אתה בנה, שלום